Okay, so I think I mentioned yesterday that I was going to talk a bit about metta meditation this morning. So I think might as well do that, and then we can try a bit guided metta meditation afterwards, see if we can make it work. This idea of metta, the word metta in Pali is often translated as loving kindness, but the actual root meaning of metta is something like friendliness. This comes from the word mitta, which means friend in Pali. So it's something like friendliness or like goodwill towards somebody. That's basically what it's all about. So the idea of love is often, it has many different kind of varieties to it. But the idea of friendliness is very it's just a friendly gesture towards somebody else. That's what it's all about. And it's a very powerful way of doing meditation practice. It had enormous benefits in many different areas. And one of the obvious benefits of metta is that it feels good, right? When you feel very friendly towards everyone around you, and you wish everybody well, you get this very happy and very good feeling for yourself. And it's it's a selfless kind of feeling. It's not like, it's not about me anymore. It's a good feeling which also is giving to other people at the same time. So for that reason, it's a very wholesome state of mind, very positive, very healthy state of mind to develop. So it feels good. This is number one reason why it's useful. The second reason is because when you have metta, you're actually reducing the defilements of the mind. So you're supporting the rest of your meditation practice, right? When you have metta, you can't really be angry and wish other people well at the same time. It's either one or the other. So by having metta, you're actually reducing not only there and then are you reducing your level of irritation or anger, but generally speaking, throughout the day, you just find that you have less of these problems because you're more friendly, you have more goodwill towards the people around you. And then when you come on the retreat, every year you come back to the retreat because you've been practicing a little bit of metta in your daily life, you find that the meditation actually becomes more profound, more deep, because you've been doing the right thing during the daily life. So it's very, in that sense, it's very useful. It's a very supportive kind of practice, and it helps the whole path to hasten the path along a little bit, so to speak. So these are the benefits, and there are other benefits as well. I think in the sutta they're talking about the 11 benefits of metta, and one of them is that there's many benefits actually. But one of them is that you sleep well at night, right? You sleep well, and then when you wake up in the morning, you wake up and you're bright and alert because because you sleep well, and you feel good in the morning. And when you feel good in the morning, you practice better during the day. You're more aware. It's easier for you to keep your virtue. You see not to be kind, all these kind of things. So the whole thing sort of comes together in a sense. And what other benefits mentioned in the sutta? People tend to like you if you have metta, right? That's not a nice benefit, isn't it? Anybody who doesn't want to be liked. So that's a nice benefit. People tend to like you. According to the suttas, you're protected by, if you have a lot of metta, you're protected by supernatural beings, right? You have your guardian angel comes and looks after you because you are a kind person. That's it's a nice thought, anyway. Even if you don't believe it, it's a nice idea. And samadhi, one of the things that it also says is that the samadhi comes easily, and that's what I was saying before. Because you are purifying yourself, you have less anger, you also have less desire, and you have less hindrances in the mind in general. It means that the samadhi actually arises much more easily as a consequence. Meditation starts to take off because the defilements are gone. So how do we do this? And the thing about metta practice is that it's about having goodwill towards other people or animals or other beings or whatever. And to be able to have goodwill, the most important thing is to choose the object of the metta meditation. It's very hard to have goodwill towards somebody you don't like, right? So if you choose the kind of your worst enemy straight away, you're going to have a hard time having feeling may you be well and happy towards this person. So it's good to, if you start the metta practice, start with somebody you respect, somebody you have a good feeling towards, somebody who has very good spiritual qualities, somebody who's wise, somebody who's kind, somebody you know is compassionate or whatever. And it can be anyone. It can be somebody you know, like maybe somebody who has helped you in your life, perhaps a family member. It can be a teacher. It can be a spiritual guide, of course, but it can also be somebody you don't know. I was mentioning like Gandhi yesterday, as an example of someone who many people admire. Anybody like that, somebody you admire for their spiritual qualities, and then because that gives you a natural picture in the mind, you know you respect this person for their qualities, and it's very easy to say, not very easy, it's much easier, I should say, to say to a person like that, I wish you well, may you be happy, may you be well, because it was already a good feeling towards that person present in your mind. And this is the thing that kind of again, I was talking yesterday about Buddhism being a teaching of causality. Everything is about causality here. Everything is conditioned. So if you are, the reason why you're able to wish somebody well is because you're focusing on the right object. If you focus on the wrong object, you get angry. Why does anger arise in a person? The reason anger arises is because you're seeing something negative in somebody else, or seeing something negative around you. And that is why anger arises. If you focus on the negative too much, you get upset or irritated or whatever it is. If you focus on the opposite, the good sides, then kindness arises. It's very simple, right? It's extremely simple. So it is all about, in your daily life, the reason you get upset is because you have focused on the wrong place. You put your attention in the wrong area. That's why you get upset. If you had put your attention in a different area, you would have felt loving kindness or metta instead. That's how simple it is. And it makes sense, but actually doing it is often not that easy, even though it makes intuitive sense. It's actually quite hard to be able to always have enough awareness and mindfulness to guide your attention in the right area at all times. So for the meditation itself, choosing the object is really the crucial issue. And once you have found a person, it doesn't have to be a person, it could be an animal, for example. If you have a very close relationship with an animal, there was one woman in Australia. She didn't like people. She also didn't like animals. So she said, "Can I do metta to a plant?" He said, "Okay." And so she was doing metta to a plant, right? Instead, so you kind of make the plant into a almost like you kind of make it into a kind of a person, right? You think of the plant as a person almost. You think, "Oh, this beautiful plant, all this." Very peaceful, right? Doesn't say very much. So this is so it doesn't really matter so much. The idea is that the purpose is you want to have an object that gives rise to a feeling where it's easy to say, may you be well, may you be happy. And sometimes, what I recommend, sometimes it can be difficult to somebody who's actually living, somebody who's here. Because when you focus on a living person, we often see like more than just the good side. We see the bad side, or at least what we think is the bad side, right? It may not actually be anything bad, but we see the bad anyway. So because of that, sometimes it can be good to kind of create a person in your mind, right? And this is the advantage of using somebody like Gandhi. We don't actually know Gandhi. Maybe he wasn't as perfect as we think he is. Maybe he probably did have some negative sides. Everybody has some negative sides. But because you don't really know that person, you can use him because you can almost like create this image of perfection there. Or, so that is kind of the advantage of using something which is not embodied, something which you don't have a direct relationship to. And the easiest way perhaps of doing that is this is the way that the metta practice is always described in the suttas, in the discourses of the Buddha. He says that what you do is you radiate kindness towards a direction, right? A certain direction. So you think of the northern direction from here, or the eastern direction, and then you imagine all the people, all the beings in the north. You think, okay, north. And you know that to the north, that there's bound to be lots of people in the northern direction who are good-hearted, kind, who have all these good qualities. Or the southern direction, right? If you go far enough, there's millions of people out there. And in that group of millions of people, we can be absolutely sure that there's a large number of people with very good qualities. So you just imagine all those people out there with good qualities. And just make it clear in your mind what it means to have a good quality, what it means to be compassionate, to be generous. What does it feel like inside of you when you are generous and kind? And there are people out there just like that, but maybe even more powerfully than that, right? And then these are people you don't know. They're just a group of kind people who exist in the southern direction. And you wish all those people out there, may you be happy, may you be well. And then, if you do it right, if you have the right object at the time, you will start to feel something. And that feeling you feel when you say to somebody else, may you be happy, may you be well, that beautiful feeling which arises, that's the feeling of metta, of kindness, of goodwill towards other people and other beings. And that's what it's all about. And then when you give rise to that, the mind becomes very pure. It's a very beautiful mind state. And then you can then move back to do some other kind of meditation afterwards, if you want to. And that's essentially how it works. So that is the metta meditation in brief. And then what happens is that once you're able to focus on a group like that, maybe one person or a group of people who you have goodwill towards, afterwards you spread it out and include everybody here. And eventually you can use various kind of visionary kind of techniques, imagination techniques to imagine the earth, for example. You can see the whole earth in your mind, and you can wish all the beings on the planet, wish them all well, for example, or the whole universe, whatever it takes. So that is the root, kind of basic idea of metta practice. And you need to, as with so many things in life, you need to experiment a bit for yourself to see what works for you. Many of you will find that you don't feel anything at all, and that's okay. I think the majority of people don't actually feel anything, certainly not the first time or the second time or whatever. And the reason is because it's quite hard to focus on people in this way. But even if you don't feel anything, what you learn through this kind of meditation, you learn to focus in a different way here. You learn to see the good aspect in people. You learn to focus on the good part, and you learn to ignore the negative sides. And that in itself is a very valuable thing here. So even if you don't feel anything, it's still a good exercise in learning how to focus in a positive way here. And I'll talk more about that later on today as well. Okay, so I'll give you a short guided metta meditation, and then we'll see how it goes, and you can ask more questions later on if you want to. So please just start every meditation in the same way. Even when you do metta, it's good to find that sense of peace first of all, because without that sense of peace, any kind of meditation becomes very hard. So just start with focusing on the body, being comfortable, number one, and the second one, just to be relaxed, just to feel at ease. Feel again if you have any tensions anywhere, and take a few deep breaths and just allow the tension to dissipate. before you do anything else in your meditation, make sure that the body is completely at ease and completely relaxed. When the body starts to fade into the background, as I was saying yesterday, that's always a good sign. So remember, the attitude is important here. Be kind to your body. Tell your body, thank you for all your services over all these years. Now I wish you well. May you relax and feel at ease. And if at any stage in the meditation you find that you get a bit tense or anything like that, and just go back to the beginning again. Don't just continue where you're at, but go back to the beginning. Always ask yourself what you need right here, right now. Don't follow a rigid structure or scheme or anything like that. Instead, do what is required at any time. And if you feel a sense of tension or something isn't quite right in the body, just go back to the beginning and relax, and then move on from there. And then when everything feels nice and easy, the next step is to allow your mind to settle down in the present moment. And to do that, remember this idea of being a passenger, just watching what is happening, not being involved in any way whatsoever, not having any judgment about things, nothing being right or wrong, just things being, that's all. So just observe as things go. And as you do that, you learn to be non-reactive. And that non-reactiveness is itself a state of peace. It's a delightful state, and you're learning to move into the idea of mindfulness. also, on top of everything else, remember the idea of the attitude, to have the right attitude at any time, and to have the attitude which is right one way, just to make sure that you enjoy the meditation right here, right now. Just feel the beautiful place we're at, the peace of the surroundings here, just nature surrounding us. Just remember that this opportunity is so rare, it's so hard to find. Usually life is so busy. Usually there is family, there is friends, there is work, there is school, there is all kind of things that we have to do. And now at last you have the opportunity, free from all the burdens of life. Hooray, free from all the burdens. What a wonderful thing that is. Have a sense of gratitude of having this opportunity, of being right here, right now. And now we'll try to turn our attention in a different direction. The first thing that you may wish to do is just to remember what the good qualities are like in a person. What does it mean to be generous? What does it mean to be kind? What does it mean to be compassionate? What does it mean to be wise? Reflect on these qualities for a few minutes. Think of what they feel like. Think of their power. Think of their beauty. And think of what it's like to have such qualities. And then allow your mind to think of the western direction from here. To the west you find the city of Helsinki, and beyond that millions and millions of people. And among those people there are so many people who have the qualities that you have just been reflecting on, and even qualities beyond that, qualities you can't even understand because they are so high and so lofty. And all those people out there, the millions of people, with such wonderful qualities. May they all be happy. May they all be well. And then you turn your attention around to the northern direction. It doesn't matter so much where it is, you just imagine roughly where it is. And again, you focus on all the good qualities in so many of the people and the beings in the northern direction. And when you're able to see those good qualities in your mind's eye, and very gently, and coming from your heart, it has to be sincere, coming from your heart. May all of you out there, may you be happy, may you be well. And you say it maybe once, and then you wait for the echo to appear in your mind, and the feeling to come up. And if nothing happens, then after a while you say it again, and you try to bring up the feeling of metta. May you be happy, may you be well. bring your attention around to the eastern direction. And again re-establish this idea of people with beautiful spiritual qualities. See them in your mind's eye with a beautiful smile, a smile of kindness, a smile of gentleness, a smile of compassion. Beautiful people with beautiful features. And tell them, thank you for being part of this world. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for being here. What a wonderful thing it is to be able to share this planet with people like you. May you be well. May you be happy. And then bring your attention around to the southern direction. And again, remind yourself of what these spiritual qualities are all about. And also know that all the people out there, even though they may have good hearts, they may be very kind people, everybody experiences more suffering than they want. And often it is not the fact we don't want these things, but we are just vulnerable to the conditions and the causes in the world that affect us in various ways. And often there's nothing we can do about those things. We just have to endure the suffering of life. And also the animals out there, they are even much more vulnerable than we are. All the animals, may they too be happy and well. All beings in the southern direction, may you be happy and well. And then bring your attention back into this room, to all the people on this retreat, many of whom you probably don't even know. But know this much, know that these people are rare in the world. That all the people around you here today are people who are practicing well, people with good hearts who are trying to make a difference in their own life and also in the life of others. And what a blessing it is to have companions like this. Thank you everyone here Thank you for being part of this retreat and part of my life, part of sharing this experience with me. May every one of you, may you find true happiness and well-being in your life. And then, last of all, bring the attention to yourself and just tell yourself that I too deserve happiness and well-being in this life. I try my best to follow this path, and everyone here has so many good qualities. Please remember those good qualities, and when you remember those, it is possible to wish even yourself well-being and happiness. May I be happy, may I find true well-being in this life. We're now coming to the end of this meditation. So towards the end, just allow yourself just to come back to the present moment again, not doing anything at all or saying anything at all, just feeling the present moment as we did at the very beginning. And then, before we end, once more, ask yourself, how do you feel? And ask yourself, what are the causes and conditions that brought you to where you are now? Try to learn from your experience for the last few moments of this meditation.